Morning, guys. I'm out here. It's not even 9:30 and it's already humid and 85 degrees. And so I'm trying to get a few things done out here before it turns into 95 degrees by 11. So we are going into August. Some of our garden cannot take the heat, other parts love it. So I just kind of wanted to show you the mess, what's still growing, what's being torn out, and kind of go from there on it. You know, obviously there's weeds. I've not been able to be out here as often because it has been hot. We've had a week of like 95-degree temperatures, or well, I don't think we've gotten much higher than 95 or 96, but it's been hot, and work has been ridiculous. And of course it's the last full week before school starts back, so there's all that beginning of the school year stuff, and we're just it's been busy. So I'm gonna show you what we got out here. I'm gonna kind of pick a few of the things and just kind of go from there, and just kind of give you a little overview of what all is going on. And I don't know how long this will be, because I don't know how long my kids will let me hang out here before they start looking for me. So the beans, obviously we have new growth, we have new beans being put on. Like, I could pick some of these to pickle. We still have a couple of the dry ones that are still hanging around, but yeah, we have new growth and new options. The noodle beans, I need to pick these two and these two. Now, I pointed out on last year's videos that if you clip these right here and right here, but you leave this little nodule, you see those ants pollinate this, and ants love this plant, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't grow it on purpose. But anyway, back to what I was saying. That little nodule will grow a third bean. Like, you'll get these two beans that are here, like you'll get these, oh goodness, where am I here? You'll get these two beans here, and then you'll get a third off of that other little nodule. But you see all the ants that are crawling on that. When I trim these, or when I get these, I usually will just lay them aside for a few minutes, let the ants get off of them. But this one plant is more than enough, because even just a couple of these will end up, just tossing them in a stir fry will be enough. And they're pretty tasty, but I've made the mistake of growing way too many of them before. And so I didn't, and also I was trying to get the ants out of this bed. This ant, ever since we planted these in this bed, we've not been able to get the ants out of it. Sorry, I had an ant on me. And so I didn't actually plant any this year. These are self-seeded, and you can see the leaves are different from my rattlesnake beans, but, and massive weeds in there. But anyway, so the cucumbers, some of them are still doing okay. We're still having some that are vining out. I've been just training them up the trellis. Sorry if the sun's in your face. And they're up above my head, and you can see all the bumblebees flying around with them. But they're starting to do this, and some of it is because of the heat, because the silver slicers don't mind the heat, but the other cucumbers really don't like it, and some of them are turning up bitter. But these silver slicer ones are okay. Like, you can see, like, their leaves and stuff are fine, and they're the more white cucumbers. But the regular, like you see these, like just your regular pickling cucumbers, they don't like the heat as well. But I also think that I'm running into some vine borer damage more on this side. Obviously, I have some cucumbers I need to come out here and pick. I've gotten so many cucumbers, but we're starting these because it's been so hot to get the wonky ones, like the really weird shaped ones. Some that are just not going to grow. But I've been tearing bits and pieces of it out down at the bottom, because we are seeing a lot of damage, and I would just rather get it out as we go along. Just to hunker down and look in here, I have been getting silver slicers. They are ready, but the plants have blight. I have been trying to keep it under control. I've been trying, I mean, you can see where I've trimmed all the limbs off and tried to give it ventilation, but where we had that weird round of rain where it's just constant, it just got started and I couldn't get rid of it. But we got some big tomatoes off of this plant, still letting those go. But you see all the spots on the plants, and you see even further, like up on the top of the plants where it's ventilated, they're all spotted now, and they're just dying off constantly. I've been trimming the dead stuff off, but no matter how much I trim, it's still just spreading. I have a feeling I'll lose my tomatoes very early on. At this point, I am just trying to get them to to ripen what's on the plant so that we can get what's out here. I'm not even concerned with getting more than what's out here. I'm just trying to keep this stuff from going to rot. The basil obviously has filled in well all the way down through here. I need to come out and trim it again because it is trying to go to bloom, mainly because it loves hot weather, and we've had a lot of hot weather this week. These are the lemon boys. You see how bright yellow that is? I need to pick some of these, get them. These are the sun golds, and look how pretty those are. They are a beautiful orange gold color, and sorry, the camera very bad. They're really good and really sweet. So even though I was worried about that plant living, obviously we're getting fruit off of it, even with the blight that's on it. Again, we're just trying to get it to do what it's doing, get what we can get, because we are going into August, and so some of these things are just not going to survive the August heat. And so looking over here, like you can notice, I've got some cucamelon vines hidden all in this, but I have not been able to see any fruit on them. And I don't know if it's because it's hidden down in there or what. I'll have to look more as I take more of the cucumbers out. But I'm not seeing any of the fruit. But yeah, you can see all the little bumblebees flying. Look how tall those tomato plants are over there. They are up above the trellis, but they're not putting on because of the blight and because of how hot it's been. And there's no blooms on those shoots. So I'll probably end up just cutting those out because I can't keep the whole plant alive for the top in hopes that it would put on something. But this, like, I've got like one spot I can stand in there and like reach everything to get to everything, but I do need to trim more basil. Like I said, it's mostly basil, cucumbers, and okra right now. But I do want to go show you the zinnias in a minute because the zinnias are taking off and they're beautiful. Chard is still doing okay. This is very weedy. I've not been in here much. The dill is going to seed. I've been scattering the dill through here. So in fall, I'll have tons of dill in here. There's tomato plants all in here. That chard came back. It's beautiful, bright colored. That is the ragged leaf kale that came back. I tore it up, left the stump because I couldn't get the stump out of the ground, and it grew back. Those things are really resilient. And I hope the weed eater's not gonna be super loud. I'm gonna have to finish up what I'm doing. But the caterpillars have moved on to this, and you can see how some of it's getting ragged. You know how the caterpillars are moving on. But if I can keep them going through the summer and into the fall, then I can trim off the lower worse ones and then still have the tops to eat off of this fall and this winter, because they will winter. They will survive the winter. But the chard will too if I can get them through the summer. This is actually an ongoing experiment now. I didn't make it last summer. I think I did take all the kale out in July last year. And so I'm trying to see how long I can keep them in there. But if it just gets too ragged and too messy, then I'm just gonna tear them out. And you see all this, where this is outgrown this. I just told my husband while he's mowing, I can't weed this area because all of this is in it. So he's fixing to, never mind. I thought that was a hummingbird moth, but it is not. It is a bumblebee and another type of bug fighting. It's like, I don't know like what's going on with that, but I thought it was a hummingbird moth, and it's not. Like, it's some kind of bugs fighting with each other. But he's gonna weed eat through here, and I'm gonna try to weed all this and try to get all of that cleared out. And you know what? There's a butterfly right there. You see it? Little butterfly. But anyway, peppers are still not putting on. No clue why. But the zinnias, look at all these zinnias. Like, all the blooms that it's putting out. They are lovely. They are some of my favorites. I've tried planting different colors of zinnias, but the red ones just seem to be the ones that do the best here. So I'm not sure what it is about that, but they are lovely. And I love the fact that they're filling in this space. The nasturtiums do not like the heat. They will probably die off even in the shade. They do not like heat. And so we have a lot of dead. I don't know if it'll survive this, but we'll see. But I'm gonna cut this off because he's weed eating and it's gonna get really loud here in just a minute. guys, out in the garden working on cleaning up some of the garden, and clearing stuff out, weeding, that kind of thing. It's been a rainy, stormy morning, and it's a little cooler out here than it would normally be in August. So I've been working on doing some stuff, and I just wanted to kind of update you guys on what the raised beds are doing right now. The nasturtiums and stuff are still holding on. If I can get them through August, they will look beautiful come the end of September and October. They like those cooler temperatures, but frost is going to kill them, like dead in a door now. Like they're just going to kill off that first frost. They'll turn into mush. The pepper plants, you know how I told you they are taking forever to get going, but I am finally starting to see some fruit. This is like a Marconi pepper, and then I think this one is straight up a bell pepper. It's orange bell pepper and giant Marconi is what those are. I keep checking the zinnias because we had this beautiful big black swallowtail, black and yellow swallowtail hanging out on them, had been the whole time. I actually got a picture, and if he doesn't show up back up in time for me to get him in the video, I'll put the picture of him at the end of this video and just kind of lapse it in. We've got a ground cherry that I just kind of left alone in this space when I took all the turnips and everything out, and I've been getting ground cherries off of it. Like I just picked a bunch of them up off the ground, so I don't think there's any down in there. But they're really cool looking. Like they look like these little lanterns. When they're green, you don't want to eat them. They'll give you a tummy ache. You definitely need to make sure they are ripe before you eat them. And you know that they are ripe when they turn yellow and they fall on the ground. I was looking to see if there was any of them down in there, but I've been over here to get the okra and stuff and harvesting okra. But I'll show you what they look like, because I've got some in the basket. Kind of okra I need to get right there. I always miss some. It never fails. I try to stay on top of it. But I just picked a basket full of another round of green beans. Obviously some of them are a little wonky, but we're getting another flush of green beans. I did not plant these. These were volunteers from these dried ones, this dried round that I left, and they have like fallen off. These need to be picked. I'm trying to get on like all the ones that are. Oh, and there's a noodle bean. I can't pick that with my hand. The ants will get me. Well, maybe I can pick it with my hand. I just got to get it in the basket real quick, because ants love these things. They crawl up and down them, and I like to set them aside a little bit to let the ants get off of them before I take them in the house. There's actually a few more down in there. I didn't realize that one was on the inside. So as you can tell, I've been weeding through here. You see where all that was dead? That was where all the oregano and the mint had kind of like grown over into the path. And I finally just told my husband, I was like, no, weed eat down through here. This has got to stop. I got to get rid of this. And you can see where I've been working on it and pushing it back. But the problem with it is every time, I'll see if I can do it again. This mulch, I guess, has been wonderful for the ants, because, I mean, these are coming right up, but look at all that. Look at all that. Yeah. And so every time I pull up a handful of weeds, I have to step away from it and let them calm down and go do something else and come back and pull up some more. Obviously, I could put gloves on, but then I'd still be standing in a nest of them, and I would rather not. The sour gherkins are on. I just seen one. I've seen several. There's several here. Ah, there's one. Little bitty tiny things. They're not ripe yet. I picked one. Oh, look, maybe this one is. This is the first time I've actually got them to put fruit on at my house. So maybe that one's ripe. They are sour when you eat them. Like they are. Have a little bit of like a sour cucumber taste. That one was close to ripe, but not 100%. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get a bunch of them and pickle them. Like they're really, really good pickled. So I'm gonna try to make a jar of them. One of my friends did that a few years ago. He had tons and he pickled them, and that was some of the best things pickled. So good. So I'm gonna try to do it, since I've got a bunch of volunteer ones that decided to show up since I didn't plan any. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens. And obviously ignore my disheveledness. I've been out here in the garden working, and obviously did not give a crap what I look like. This nasturtium's doing really well because it's shaded by the okra at this point, so it is doing awesome. The ones that are getting the direct sun are not doing well. And I was looking, because I know I have a noodle bean right here. This is where I'm getting some of those off. We've got a new one that has come up that's right here. And so that one will be starting to put on. It's going up the trellis. But if you look, like, I've been tearing out some of the cucumbers. You notice that, like, we're coming to the end of these cucumbers. These cucumbers are pretty much done. We're getting the really wonky looking ones. I'm looking for one right now because I've been cutting them off. Oh, like this. We're like, they just don't do what they're supposed to do. And so I'm in the process of taking them out, but I'm trying not to damage the cucamelons, the sour gherkin cucamelons. Look at that tiny little thing, and then look at the pollinator on it. How tiny those things are, and how these flowers are important to the tiniest little things. Let's see if it'll let me zoom in. Actually focus on it. The tiniest little things. So that's really cool. I've been watching them. So I'm really nervous about pulling a bunch of this off because I don't want to tear these down. So I've been kind of clipping them here and there and pulling them. Obviously over here, another flush of beans. I told you that basket is completely full at the bottom, but beans coming on. So haven't had to plant any of those and getting another round. I've weeded through here some, because if you look right here, I've got to deal with this. There's a bunch of spider egg sacs right there, and I don't know what kind of spider it is, but yeah, I'm not comfy with that because I will stick my hand down in it. But the chard it's looking a bit mangled from the heat, but it is still going. Experiment is to see if I can get them to survive. But yeah, I cleared out some back in there too, so I could get back there. The ragged leaf kale came back. The stumps that I left came back, and then the worms have like eaten them down to a nub because they like them better than they like my other kale. So yeah, they came back, and then the worms are eating them again. So I'm half tempted to just leave them, like leave the stumps and see what happens. But with the chard, I'm getting new growth down inside it. So I'm hopeful that we can, where the heat's been burning them, the sun, like the direct sun, I'm hoping we can get them through the summer and keep them going, and I'll have some for this winter. But look, I didn't realize this one was this fluorescent pink. That's like the peppermint striped one, and then the golden colors. This is not doing it justice there. And this one was the one that was buried by the kale. It wasn't doing very well, and I've gotten a few leaves off of it. Look how colorful that one is, like so bright. So I actually picked some of the chard, and cooked some of it the other day with some cheese. I ran across a recipe that was really good, and so I'm hoping I can keep on going, but we'll see. But yeah, I've been cleaning out obviously cleaning out the paths here, but the ants have been an issue. Obviously, look how different all this is. The basil is still going strong. I have been clipping them constantly because in this heat they are trying to go to flower like all the time. All this mess, bunch of cages taken out, I got to put up, but all this mess is pulled out. I've been trying to get all these tomatoes that have blight. I've been trying to get them to survive just long enough to ripen what is on the plant, because they are just dying off. That's why those two are completely gone already, because they were not ripening. I mean, they ripened what they had, but then they were not doing anything else. Ironically, even with the blight, the sun golds are doing great. Like, they're sprawling everywhere. So I'm just gonna leave them alone and get sun golds off of them. These are lemon boys, and I've gotten several off of these, but I don't know, and off of this plant, I don't know if it's gonna live enough to get these others. So I mean, because it's just, even trimming the dead stuff off and the unhealthy stuff off, the blight has been horrible because we had like a month of rain at a very weird time of year for us. But yeah, all the cucumbers, some of them still look, I mean, like they could be okay. Mostly my silver slicer ones, like they're still putting on normal, like regular cucumbers because they're used to the heat. We'll definitely be ordering more of those seeds from Hudson Valley Seed Company. But the other, like the pickling cucumbers and the real long ones, those are the ones that the heat's getting, and vine borers and that kind of thing. So all of this will eventually come down. I'm just taking my time with dealing with it because I'm trying not to damage the cucamelons that are growing up through there. But yeah, the okra and stuff. All of this is changing. I'm out here cleaning up. I think I'm gonna link in to this one, the video that I took in the pumpkin patch the other day, because the pumpkin patch is doing well. Or get a bug on me. The big pumpkins are dying off, but we have some massive ones that are turning orange, and it's those big jack-o'-lantern ones. So they're going to be ready to kind of set aside and let harden off before we know it. It'll be time. But the Ghirardelli pumpkins, I thought one of them, well actually I thought two of them were ripe and ended up picking them. I'll post a picture of me with them. And I picked them a few days, a week apart, something like that, and thought that they were okay. They, hold on, I'm gonna go back over here. So I'm like in my little, what is that? Look at that, guys. What is that? It's a cocoon of some kind. What is that? Okay, taking a picture of that while I'm videoing, and I'm gonna Google that. If I can figure out what it is by the time I post it, I will link it to this, because I have no idea what that is. Whatever it is, ant on me, ants are everywhere, is what probably is cutting these leaves the way that they are. I mean, they're like butchered. Let me get back over here, and then you guys will just have to deal with me looking like a hot mess. But I'll link in the video about the pumpkins down there, because I went down there and I was showing you all of them. But I thought the Ghirardellis, a couple of them, because the skin was hardening up, and their vine, you know, like with watermelons, like the little curly Q next to it, when it dies off, like that's how you know that it's ready. They did that on two of them, and so I thought, okay, these are ready. And they were pretty good size. I mean, they're you know, not small. So I went ahead and I got them, and I, you know, carried them up to the house. Well, one of them had a like slug damage around the stem, and so it would not harden off well. It would have rotted. So I went ahead and cut it to cook it, and figured out that it was not fully ripe, but it did not matter. It got half still in the fridge, but I cubed up one half of it, threw it in the air fryer with some olive oil and some seasonings for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. It was so good. It tastes like mashed potatoes. Taste like potatoes, but it's low carb, and so I can have it on my diet, and I am loving it. We'll definitely be growing them again, because if they're this tasty when they are not completely ripe, I can only imagine what they're like when they're fully ready to go. So obviously there's still a bunch down there, and I'm gonna let those stay on the vine, hopefully actually get them to full ripe. The other one that didn't have any slug damage, I'm gonna let it harden off. I've just got it kind of sitting on my kitchen table as like a decorative item right now, because it is so pretty. And so we got probably 6 or 7 of the big orange pumpkins. And then the Ghirardellis, not counting the 2 I've already picked, we probably still have 5 or 6 down there that are growing. We have probably 7 to 10 watermelons at this point. Some of them the size of basketballs. So those are definitely growing. And then of course the sunflowers are still going strong. I just cut a few when I was down there looking at the pumpkins the other day to put on my table as well. So things in the garden, even going into August, are doing okay. Just we're transitioning a bit, and that's just this time of year. Some things don't like the heat, and I'm trying to clean some stuff out, because I'm trying to decide, like, we need to put more dirt in the beds this season, like this next season, and let it kind of settle and just let them hang out for a bit instead of doing a bunch of winter stuff. And so I'm trying to decide which ones I want to let like stay empty, and which ones I want to go ahead and tear out and top up, and then put something else back in for winter. I mean, even if it's just some peas, or you know, some of the snap peas, like sugar snap peas, you know, something like that, that will do okay in the winter. You know, maybe throw a round of carrots in out here, kind of see how they do out here. But yeah, we're just kind of I'm messing around with what I want to do with which bed. But we will definitely be topping them up, and I may do a video when we do that just to show like the combination of compost and dirt and, you know, any extra like supplements, minerals, those kinds of things that we decide to put in there. But I'm gonna get off here because it is humid and it is thundering off in the distance, and I don't know when it's gonna start storming again. But I didn't see my butterfly friend back over here, so hold on, I'll walk back over here. I didn't see the butterfly friend come back. Like all the little ones. This is what I've been loving, is all these little butterflies that are hanging around, like just super cute. But these zinnias, like these red ones, are my favorite. I love the little tiny flowers that are down inside them. And they get these like offshoots in the center again, like they just perpetually bloom, because they go from being this to being, this one obviously is past its prime, but being this full bloom. It's like this whole cone on the inside ends up blooming, and so it's just really pretty, and the pollinators love them. But I'm gonna get off of here, finish doing what I was doing, take some of this stuff into the house, and decide what I'm gonna do with it. So you guys have a good back to school week, because I know the majority of us are going back this week, and I am looking forward to being back in a normal schedule. Bye. So this is Loretta try not to fall over in the garden moment in the pumpkin patch. But this is our biggest pumpkin, and you can kind of tell like how big it is by my hand there. And we're planning to weigh that thing. I don't know that I can pick it up with one hand, but it's pretty good size. And then we have another one right here that's turning. We could probably like pick this one now and just kind of set it aside and let it be hardening off. But these that are still turning green, even though the leaves are dying off and everything's dying off, we need to leave them out here as long as we can to let them harden off naturally. And so we've got those two. We've got two over there. There were other ones over here. I know that there are two more that are still green over there. Oops, ignore that. There's two more green ones over there, and one right over there that's completely orange. But where all this is dying off, it's making it easier to like see the vines and walk through it. And so you see how they start out. Let me find the green ones. Here's a pretty good size green one. Like these things are massive. Set my drink down. But you see how big that one is down in there. And it starts out this color, and then they go from that to this. See how it's still kind of got a little bit of the green left? To like where all this is dying off. That, like this is the other really, really big one. Now, what's really odd, and I don't know what caused the difference, because you hear this, like these are solid, they're healthy, but this one was right here, oops, right here on this same thing. See how it's mushy? It felt like a basketball. It was very obviously molding, and so I don't know why that one never did anything and it got gross, whereas all the rest of them are fine. But I mean, if we lose just one out of this whole group of them, I am not going to complain, because we will have plenty of jack-o'-lanterns for the kids to carve. So let's walk around here and look at like this is still a healthy side of the pumpkin patch, and that other side where I showed you the green ones is still healthy too. But you see where like they're getting the powdery mildew on them, so they're not going to last much longer. And even the Ghirardelli ones that I told you were doing so much better are getting the powdery mildew as well. And so we have a few that are this size on here still, and this is how you can tell they're not ready. You see where I cut it with my nail earlier and how moisture's coming out. It's not hardened yet. You gotta wait for the skin to harden off on those before you can pick them. But we had some storms that came through, And a bunch of our really pretty sunflowers got blown over in the storm, and I'm kind of sad about it. And they're also covering up a few more of our Ghirardelli pumpkins. There's another one that's buried under there. I'm trying to get over to like get into our watermelons, but the sunflowers being over has interfered with my path I've been taking. But you see that one big one right there? It is almost ready. It's not quite. What you look for, so the camera's weird, I'm having to set my drink down. What you look for is, first thing you want to look for is you want to look and see if this is dead and dying off. You look for the closest curlicue to the watermelon, and if it's dead, then you know it's ready. Another thing you can look for is them getting the yellow spot on the bottom, but that's not always going to be accurate. So the best thing I've run across so far is when that little curlicue has dried up, like, you know they're ready. But we have 1, 2, 3. Oh goodness, I'll have to get out and look around because there are some that you can see them better now that they're getting larger. We have one that's over there in the sunflowers. But you can see them better from outside the actual patch. So let me get out of here. And kind of go from there. But we have them hidden all down in here. Like, there's one right there, one right there. And these that are in the bricks, like right there, and one right there. Actually 2 right there. And they are just everywhere. And then up by the house, we have a volunteer, like, normal watermelon. I was looking, because I think we've got one out here too, but there's another one right there. But there was a volunteer regular watermelon out here too, where we had one striped one in with all the others, and I can't find it now. So, but anyway. But we have one by the house that's putting on, like, by the compost bin. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. This thing is putting on by the compost bin, and it looks like we're going to get watermelons off of it. And it's a single vine. But there's the one that's hidden over here in the sunflowers. And my sunflowers, because of all the wind and the rain and everything we've had coming in, see how tall those have gotten. Like, they are nearly twice my height. And, I mean, I'm like 5 foot. So, yeah, they're pretty tall. And some of them haven't even bloomed yet. Like, you can look at some of those and they've not even bloomed. And we've got some of the bigger heads, like this one. Sorry, again, this is really fascinating. I like seeing them when they've bulbed out like that. Is look at the bees and stuff on that one. That one's gonna have a lot of really good seeds if it stays healthy and stays up. There's another one. The sun's like right at the right spot to interfere, so I can't get a good angle on that one because it's so tall and I can't reach. But some of the heads, I'll post some pictures. You see how these are doing? These are still forming. Like, all of these little flowers need to be pollinated because that will be what allows the seeds to form. And what's weird is some of them do this weird stuff where in the center they don't form at all. I'll show you another one. I think I've already showed it once on video, but you see where we've cut some of these off. Trig was determined to have some to eat, and so we have been eating on some of them. Like, you can see where the birds have been stealing the seeds out of these, but Trig has also been eating them as well. And of course, this one that I decided to pop didn't have a seed in it. I guess if I can get another one. But yeah, you can pop them open and you can eat them raw. I mean, obviously most people roast them, but they've, you know, got the normal sunflower seeds in them that you would normally eat. They just have a more of a fresh taste to them than, and like plainer, I guess is a good word for it. Like, they don't really have a like salt or something like that with it. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to pick or cut some of these sunflowers and try to save some of them. It's not focusing. Try to save some of them because I hate that they fell over, and I mean, they're completely uprooted. Like, they're not gonna, I don't think they're gonna make it back. But I think this is funny. Oh no, I thought that was on the same branch. It's not. That we had that color and then that color on the same one, but they're actually two different ones. But yeah, I mean, some of them are ready to go, but I'm kind of sad that I'm not going to get the rest of the blooms. But it is what it is. This happens when it storms, and we'll enjoy what we have left of them. So, but I wanted to update you guys on this part of the garden, my sunflowers that are slowly but surely coming to the end of their era this summer. So I just wanted to get you updated on the pumpkins and the watermelons before we start harvesting them. Though I will say that I did harvest a couple of the Ghirardellis, and cutting those up and roasting them, like they were not as ripe as they could have been. Like, I harvested them too early, but they taste like potatoes, and low carb potatoes. Like, I love it. I may have already mentioned it in another video, but we had them again this evening for supper, and well worth the time of growing them. I hope that I can get enough of them to keep them through the winter, because they are really, really good. But I will talk to you guys later. I'm gonna cut all these in together, and then go ahead and post it, and we'll start doing some more changes as we're coming through the end of the summer, and then going into preparing for fall, like preparing the beds. So we'll talk more about that later. You guys have a good evening.